Happy New Year! It's 2022 and I am ready. Every week I make a video detailing any video game news that interests me because although Nico and I play a lot of games, he has a tendency to be rather oblivious to news about them, while I, on the other hand, am pretty obsessed with it. By the way, during the past 2 months since I started this series, I was rather inconsistent with the date I used, so going forward I'll be using the date that I actually record the video. That said, here's everything I think Nico should know about in game news the week of January 2nd, 2022. The development of Square Enix's Final Fantasy XVI for the PlayStation 5 has been delayed by 6 months due to COVID-19. Funny thing though, we didn't have a release date, so 6 months from when? Your guess is as good as mine. However, the game's producer Naoki Yoshida had promised news about 16 sometime during 2021, but in a recent tweet he stated that he would be unable to do that. Instead, they are planning on having their next big reveal in spring of 2022. Yoshi P has done an amazing job with Final Fantasy XIV, so I'm totally okay with leaving this in his hands, even if I have to wait. You can read the full statement via Final Fantasy XVI's Twitter account linked in the description below. On Tuesday, December 28th, John Madden passed away at the age of 85. I consider this video game news because his is the name behind the Madden NFL football games that have been released almost every year since the very first one on the Apple II in June of 1988. John Madden was probably one of the most iconic figures in the NFL. He was a Hall of Fame NFL coach and one of the most recognizable voices in NFL broadcasting, earning 16 Emmy Awards throughout his career. When Electronic Arts approached Madden about making a football game, he would only agree to put his name on it if it was representative of real football, so he worked with them to make John Madden Football. Today, EA's Madden NFL Football is the only officially licensed NFL video game series, and it's considered one of the most successful franchises in all of video gaming. Rest in peace. Riot Games, the company behind the wildly popular League of Legends, has agreed on a settlement of the gender discrimination class action lawsuit for $100 million. $80 million will go to over 2,300 women employees and contractors, while the remaining $20 million will go to attorney fees and miscellaneous expenses. In a statement, Riot said, "While we're proud of how far we've come since 2018, we must also take responsibility for the past. We hope that this settlement properly acknowledges those who had negative experiences at Riot and demonstrates our desire to lead by example in bringing more accountability and equality to the games industry." I can't and won't comment on whether this punishment is enough. However, I will say that I hope the video game industry becomes more inclusive, and I do believe that human beings are capable of it. It's just going to take a lot of work. You can read the entire statement from Riot Games about the settlement at the link in the description below. On January 1st, LEGO released a Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone set. It retails for $70. Their website says, "Lots of fun details and Easter eggs have been incorporated into the 1,125-piece set, including 5 minifigures, an updated version of Sonic, Crabmeat, Motobug, Dr. Eggman, and the Phantom Ruby. Also included are 10 boxes of golden-colored rings and a technique lever to spring Sonic and friends into the air. And just like in the game, you can earn a gem reward as you build the set." Remedy, the developer behind games like Control, Alan Wake, and Max Payne, has signed a global development, license, and distribution agreement with Tencent for a co-op free-to-play PvE shooter codenamed Vanguard. It will be developed with the Unreal Engine for PC and console platforms, and according to their statement, will combine Remedy's narrative expertise and action gameplay into an immersive multiplayer experience. It is currently in proof of concept phase, so it will probably be a while before we see anything. This is Remedy's first foray into games as a service. Personally, the phrase free-to-play really turns me off, but given how amazing their other games are, I'll at least be keeping an eye on this. There's a new gameplay trailer for YOMAWARI 3. Looks creepy. It's scheduled to release in Japan in April. I've played the first game in this series, which I enjoyed, but ultimately didn't get very far because I got too frustrated. Interestingly, being bad at a horror game can completely take the scary out of it. On the flip side, though, there's a good chance that you won't beat it. When I was creeped out by the game, I thought it was really cool though. So although I personally won't be playing YOMAWARI 3 when and if it comes to the West, if you're into creepy Japanese horror, I recommend you check this out. And finally, Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda penned a New Year's letter to investors and other stakeholders about the future of the company with regard to current trends in technology. In it, he discusses the metaverse and how it is being shaped by advances in extended reality technology, the cloud, and blockchain technology. In particular, he focuses on NFTs and blockchain gaming as something that Square Enix has decided to invest significant resources in. He also acknowledges that players don't like this trend. However, he believes that advances in these token economies will provide users with actual incentives to create user-generated content, thereby making video games better. As a huge fan of Square Enix and Matsuda himself, he showed up at a Final Fantasy XIV fan fest wearing a Blue Mage outfit to announce Blue Mage. This letter disappointed me greatly. Blockchain technology is incredibly damaging to the environment, and by financially incentivizing players to create user-generated content, I worry that some games will become a sort of Wild West of random stuff all thrown together. I refuse to be all doom and gloom, though. The fact that Matsuda is aware of how this kind of announcement will likely be received leads me to believe that he's trying to be very careful about how they implement this. I highly recommend reading the entire letter at the link in the description below. And that's it for game news this week. Here's wishing for a great 2022. Join me again next week for more news and adventure. Until then, play lots of games and have an awesome week.